You paid for that?
What's wrong with you,
Paid
man?
for what?
For the haircut.
You don't like his
What's wrong with
haircut?
my
Looks like a woodpecker.
And what do you look like?
I look like me, myself, and I.
Pete, what do you think about his haircut?
Looks good.
You like it?
I'm jealous.
Yeah, good from far, but far from good.
Okay, Anto.
You're with your haircut, you look like a Di Biagio in that video that you sent
Well, I
us.
look a little better than the Biagio.
I don't know
Yeah,
about
that's
that.
like
You know,
crazy.
Peter got me in trouble. Are we
you-
live, by the way?
Yeah, we're live.
Oh, no. I'm gonna say things like
Why?
This guy sound like a little kid took
I
a
said to
cookie from
Peter-
the cookie jar. He wasn't supposed
I
to.
said to Peter, I said, yo, Pete, take my phone. I wanted to ask him personally what he thinks about Cassano. Then we starting. Peter was freaking recording. And then he saw the AC Milan cover that I have. I said, what the hell is that? I said, ma che cos'è questo? He said, what is this thing here, the cover of AC Milan? I said, listen, to be honest with you, Gigi, I am an AC Milan fan, but I liked you when you used to play in Roma. And that was it.
For
At the
context,
Inter club.
Yeah, for context, Antonio went to the Inter Club of New Jersey, right? Or the Inter Club of Facchetti,
Facchetti, New
Right.
Jersey.
who had Gigi Di Biagio,
Biagio.
an Inter legend, that was present. And when Antonio went to go record a video, he saw your Milan cover.
That's it. That's it.
Is there any more to the story, Pete, that we
Yeah,
don't
it
know?
is one more thing to the story. As soon as I walked inside of the big room over there, I saw Giuseppe Rossi. And then Giuseppe comes to me and said, Anto, wrong tie. I said, what do you mean wrong tie? I had a red tie. I said, because this is the Inter party. I said, give me a break, wrong tie. We are what we are. We are who we are.
You guys are cousins.
Yeah, that's no.
You should not see your
cousins.
cousin's dinner dance. What's the story? Give us a story about Anto yesterday.
I didn't drink anything. I didn't do anything, right, Pete?
I didn't ask.
I behaved myself.
I
he's
just asked
very
for a
good.
story.
I didn't ask.
It was him and his wife. They're both wearing red, by the way. I don't know if it was.
Did you tell her to wear red?
Yes.
And
also
never
needed-
changed.
Antonio was just giving because the Inter game was happening
Oh,
at the
okay.
same time. So he's like, "Oh, let us know when Lecce ties," and then Inter would score the second. The third, the fourth, and then he was like, "Okay, Milan's gonna win versus Atalanta," and that didn't happen.
And that's when the drinking started.
And then Leao. I don't know if you saw the celebration,
Yeah.
but I think it was directed to you, Antonio.
What did he
He
do?
was going like this.
Oh, yeah?
all the haters.
Troppa sai.
I
Too
know,
much
with-
talking.
Yeah, too much talking. I think.
How many people came up to him making fun of him that he's a Milan fan? At the
Yeah,
Inter
there was a
party?
lot of people that were there. They recognized us, the FTV crew, and they were like, "Anto,
But
what,
they don't.
are you at
they
the wrong
don't-
party?"
They don't hate us.
No, why are they gonna hate
They're not
you?
going to say it to your face.
One
They
Don't
say
say
it in
in
the
Don't say in
comments.
exactly.
Besides Chuck. Chuck is the
Chuck-
only guy
Chuck
in the
loves you.
comments that loves you.
Chuck,
Shout out
aka
to
Anto.
Chuck, no?
Yeah, give a shout out to Chuck.
Hey,
Show him
Chuck.
some love.
Oh, maybe he's watching this. Chuck, I'll tell you, those guys, they think that all the beautiful comments that you make about me, I mean, you're telling the truth, you're speaking, truth to, those guys, they think that I am impersonating myself as you. In
As
other
who?
words, I am Chuck, according
You're
to
Chuck?
them. No, I'm not.
Oh.
So
Maybe
Chuck
it's-
apparently he believes for anybody that is listening to the podcast that I'm the real GOAT. I'm the GOAT, the greatest of all time.
I'm going to
He's
read
the
his comment.
All right,
This
read
is
it.
Chuck on our last podcast, and we
Yeah.
send this in our group chat for everyone to react to it.
As a laugh.
This guy, Antonio, here is the greatest cultural analyst of all time.
I
He
did
is
it
the
too.
Ferrari engine of IFTV.
Wow.
Anto studied the game from the ancient gods of body. Literal culture professor taking everyone at the table to school.
That's
Go.
right. That's right, Chuck. That's right. I appreciate it.
that
When
God
did
is
Ferrari
bad.
last win? And then Formula One.
First of all, you don't know anything about Formula 1.
you just asked your question.
No,
I asked you a
no,
question.
Why you
When did Ferrari last
I
win?
don't need to enlighten it. First of all, being an Italian, don't make fun of Ferrari. Okay?
He asked you a simple question.
Yeah, that's
I
why
asked you
he
a
Why are you
question.
getting so
he was
defensive?
interested.
2008.
Okay.
All right. So, anyway.
Same time Milan was in the
By the
Champions
way,
League.
what are you
last-
doing like
I didn't
that?
say
Did you have
anything. I
any,
didn't
any
say
Greek
anything.
car?
I didn't say
Did the Greece ever invented a car, or you still going around with mules
I should have called him
Anyway,
Anyway, today.
let's move on. You guys said you're talking about Inter, the Inter party. Inter continue to be perfect. +9 at the top of the table. Another game, 4 games in a row that they score 4 goals, Inter, and it's 3 wins. It's the first time that's ever happened consecutively since 1947. They just continue to break record after record. Lautaro Martinez got his 100th goal in the Serie A. He continues pushing forward, 22 goals in the Serie A this season with 13 games to go. A perfect, beautiful machine that doesn't stop. How good does it feel to be an Inter fan right now? Because I had made a comment saying it's probably the best time to be alive to be an Inter fan right now.
I would agree. I would
Best
say
time
so.
ever?
I mean, best
the
time
moment.
ever.
It's the best.
I think for
the
the
season, yeah.
for the season, for the past couple of years, like this is probably the best because we're winning, but also playing great football. The turnover that we had this game, like we didn't really see any hiccups with the players that have come in. Fratesi scores again, so like these are guys, everyone's stepping up to the plate. Even when Thuram is injured, Çalhanoğlu might be out for the next couple of games before Atletico. But we have confidence in the players that are behind to step up. I mean, even Bisek. Bisek looks like a natural starter on this Inter team. Bistecca, yeah.
Bistecca.
Yeah.
Oh, Bisek.
So,
Hungry for the goals.
there's a lot of positive, moments right now. But ultimately, it's just I like Inzaghi's approach that every game is important and we're going to do the maximum to be able to win. I think that comes from the first year that he coached with Inter, knowing how easy it is to kind of slip and then could be too quick to kind of catch it. So it's a matter of him, being laser focused on this campionato, the Scudetto race, getting the 2 stars. And we were actually talking about it at the dinner dance or gala yesterday where, we said that it's fitting or could be fitting that Inter might be able to win their Scudetto, the 2nd star,
On the 5th of May?
not on the 5th of
before
May,
the derby,
but actually
before the
right for the AC Milan versus Inter game.
Damn,
There's a possibility.
Is it Milan
would
at home too?
No,
Milan's
away.
at home.
Away.
You sure?
It's 100%.
Okay.
I'll fact check. What else can we say about this Inter side? In this game, they rotated 7 of the natural starters, by the way. And Lecce at home is actually a tough team. They usually put up a better fight than they did, but they were going up against great teams.
Listen, even in the first half, I mean, Lecce did put up a fight. Inter then all of a sudden were able to
In the second half.
kind of break through.
What's a new thing? What else can we say about this Inter side that we haven't said already? Because it feels like we've hit them a million times.
They don't have Orsato ref in the game for them.
It's Milan is home, by the way. Just check.
Is he home?
100%.
100%.
My 100%.
100%.
He needs
We
to
can
win
take
on
your
something.
word.
Anything new?
Unbelievable.
Anything else with the Inter?
They just keep getting better, and the
As long-
competition just keeps dropping points. There's nothing but praise for me for Inter at this moment.
Alexis Sanchez comes in, gets the assist. Fratesi comes in,
I
scores.
love Fratesi.
De Vrij
And gets
is
assist.
starting for Acerbi and
Acerbi, yeah.
scores. So, like, everybody that's been put into the position to do what they have to do, they're there, and they make sure that they're going to, follow in the footsteps of the starters, or so be it starters. And I think the beauty is that this team really, everybody's competing for a spot. There's no, aside from, I think, Lautaro, Thuram, obviously,
there's
Çalhanoğlu,
natural
Barella.
stuff.
No, Di Maria.
No, they're-
The
they're-
trio in the
There
midfield
is,
never
there
moves.
is.
But what I'm saying is, like, if you sub out Barella for Fratesi, yes, it's a different quality on the pitch, but Fratesi can give you something,
sure.
that you don't feel like you're missing a lot. I think maybe Çalhanoğlu, Lautaro, and Thuram are the guys that, are sacred to this team.
Yeah, it's true.
And then everybody else, obviously, you have your starters. But you can put Carlos Augusto for Di Marco, and you're gonna get a good shift.
Gotcha.
Fratesi can come in. These guys.
No, but
can
you're
all
getting
come in.
Zielinski in a couple of
Darmian,
months, yeah.
Like it's.
Yeah, it is the fear of. I mean, Thuram's going to be out for a little while. Hakan hopefully makes it back before Atletico. The reports
Yeah.
are that he will, because that will be important. And then it's full focus on Champions League. Because if you get past this Atletico side, I mean, we'll see. They have to do one more draw. First things first. But if you can do that, this Inter side, the only thing I could see hurting them is injuries. Injuries to a striker. Because if Lautaro goes down or Thuram goes down or even Hakan in key moments come that time, then all of this, what we're saying, I mean, you'll still have an exceptional season because your backup team will win the Scudetto, but to go far in Champions League, you do need everybody at the right moment, and we know that there are other teams in Europe that have a little bit more depth at that. Shall we go to another topic?
Yeah.
One that I was very happy to see. De Rossi, again today with Roma, won once again against Torino. 5 wins out of 6 in his first 6 games in Serie A. The only loss was to Inter, which, I mean, everybody could lose to Inter. It's understood. Dybala got a hat trick.
Wow.
Once again, he's having the best goal scoring season of his
Roma
life. He's on
playing
track.
home? But
It's
they
for
were
the last
playing
6 years, yes. They were at home. And they're playing good football. They're passionate. They got the win against Feyenoord in the Europa League, which was a crazy match. But the way that they won at the end was, I heard De Rossi say it was very Roman, right? It looked like a Champions League. It looked like they won a Champions League final by the way that he was running around the pitch and embracing with the fans. And I had a lot of doubts about this move. I said, how can he compete in Serie A? How can he go forward in Europa League? Because I knew Mourinho would put that focus. So far, that's all been thrown in my face, and it's worked out much better than I think anyone really could have expected.
I have no doubt. I told you.
You also said Pirlo was going to win the Champions League with Juventus when he first took
And
over.
Belgium's
I
gonna
said,
win the World Cup.
this tells you.
A broken clock is right twice a day.
This tells you that Mourinho, he was a problem. Okay? Mourinho was the real problem. You can have the same squad. They didn't have anything since Mourinho left. They just said, hey, this is the team. Do the best you can. And De Rossi stepped up to the plate and he's making them play. Different style of soccer. So you can play a lot better with exactly the same player. So all of these grandeurs around Mourinho, it's way overly exaggerated.
Well, one other thing too, though, he also implemented Zvilar, the goalkeeper.
Oh my God, what a keeper!
The 24-year-old Serbian goalkeeper who it's crazy that he's been on the bench, because Rui Patricio, I can't even think about the countless amount of times that we've sat here and said Rui Patricio has made a mistake that's cost Roma games, and this kid has a lot of courage. Technically, he's really good. He made 2 penalty saves in the game against Feyenoord. He should have even had 3, and I love his mentality of, the next time I need to make 4 penalty saves. I need to do even more. So that's one thing that De Rossi did add to the team.
Yeah, that's a big one overall. I just feel like the two key differences between the two coaches. With Mourinho, it was running, before he got sacked, it was running towards like a beaten path in terms of we already know what kind of football. My bad. We already know what kind of football is being played over here, and I feel like it was the same old story of them not playing pretty football. But in the beginning, it worked out because they were getting results. But when they weren't getting the results, that's when there was a lot of question marks. I feel like with De Rossi, it's like a breath of fresh air, just because he lets them be more free. And I feel like you see it within the players. You don't see them as frustrated. You don't see them as rigid. They don't have that strict Mourinho kind of defensive abilities they always have to attempt for first. You can see Pellegrini looks like a new player. And I think the Patricio move should have been done a long, long time ago. That's Villar's playing, and he's finally getting the chance he deserved, long awaited. And Smalling's back now, so
Tammy is on his way.
And
Tammy's going to be coming back. If they get Tammy, is top 4? Well, actually, it could be top 5 now. By the way,
I kept saying, watch that Tammy Abraham comes back, and I like to see what this Roma can do. So sure enough, 100% in agreement with Mike, which is a rare thing for me. Yeah, but this Abraham can spell a lot of trouble for either Atalanta.
Because he could play with Lukaku. And I love that De Rossi said, if I have all these great players, let me let them play together.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing is Dybala. Can Dybala stay healthy and do what he's doing? To score 3 goals today and then stay on the pitch, past the 90th minute, that's something that we don't say very often when it comes to Dybala. That's been the biggest thing. And I think with De Rossi as a player, he was supposed to be, the Pirlo Gattuso mix, right? Because he had that aggressiveness, the intensity, the passion, but then also had this technique about him. And so I wonder if that's going to translate also to his coaching career, where I think in the first half, this Roma team, compared to the second half of this game, was a whole another Roma team. So I think within the locker room, his presence and his intensity, his passion, he's able to really, get the most out of his players, but then also give the players the freedom to play the game. And like you said, my job as the coach is to make sure I put the best team forward, and how can I get the best players on the pitch at the same time? Because that's a winning formula.
Which sounds obvious, but we see coaches like Allegri, for example, or like Mourinho in the past, and I love Mourinho, but let's just call a spade, where they don't want to ruin the balance of certain teams by playing too many attacking players. And on top of that, for me, De Rossi's attitude, the way that he communicates, it is 10 out of 10. It's amazing. If you listen, it's a breath of fresh air. It's all focused on football. It's all positivity. It's about the game, and it's about the players that he has, and he kind of praises them. I know Jose, he's negative sometimes, where he's making fun of a player, or maybe making fun of is not the proper word, but I feel like De Rossi's really focused on that, and he hasn't been happy even when they don't play well. He said that the game against Feyenoord, he wasn't even sorry, not the game against Feyenoord, I think it was the game against Frosinone, where they kept a clean sheet. They're like, oh my God, you kept a clean sheet. He said, I'm not happy. This doesn't count as a clean sheet because we had too many opportunities against us, and we only got lucky that Zvilar saved us. even stuff like that, it matters. It
And
matters in a coach.
I feel like a big part that we aren't even discussing is De Rossi was actually a player. That's something Mourinho can't really relay in that to that top level, right? So him being from Rome, born and bred there, he understands what it feels like. He knows a lot
Mourinho
of these
understood
guys.
Roma though. Like
I
we
didn't
can't
say-
take that
no,
away.
I don't want to say not that he didn't understand the club as an actual player, as a position, as a profession.
But still,
You
Mourinho
understand?
won it all.
Mourinho's
He's
won
No, I
amazing
get
at
it,
all.
but it's
Mourinho's
different.
Listen,
But that's
I
different.
haven't
Mourinho's
watched
done
the
what he
game,
had to
Mike,
do.
but the one thing I have noticed lately, what Roma does, especially with the Dybala is the jolly of the team. So I don't think
Controls
that Rossi
everything.
is tasking him to come and defend all the way
No,
the
it's
rest of
not.
the team does. So I think that De Rossi has said, listen, I don't need you to come down and defend. Stay over here when they are attacking, and when we get the ball, make things happen. So it's not really saying, stay here, stay. But am I right or wrong, Pete?
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
And
with
Dybala
you.
hasn't even played great yet. Like
Yeah.
a lot of his
So-
matches, I mean, today aside, they were not
I
top,
didn't
top
watch the game
performances.
today, but most of the goal that came out on the second half. Well, what's the deal? I didn't watch the game,
Dybala scored 3.
but all on the
Beautiful
second half.
goals.
No, he
Second
scored
half.
one penalty in the first.
And listen, it's
Zapata
not easy to
side
score
one.
against
It was 1-1.
Juric.
Well,
Torino.
you know why too?
Why?
Also because Juric was spying on Roma.
What do you mean spy?
yeah.
Did you hear
That's
that?
One of the
No.
coaches was
So-
spying on the training session.
Get out.
Yeah.
So he was caught. Juric sent an assistant coach to watch De Rossi's team ahead of this game, and he was actually caught by police. And he had binoculars, and he was in a tree trying to
Get out.
see their
must have
Not
missed
even
transactions.
embodied. They hear these things.
He
Yeah.
must have missed Dybala on the binoculars because he did all the damage today.
What do you think De Rossi would have done if he caught that guy?
I don't think so. I said, at the end of the day, you can just buy as much as you want. The team that you put it on the field, you still have to perform and execute what your coach.
Well, they didn't do
She
that.
would have turned him into a pinata
What
if he
the
got him.
plans are. So I think Juric. Oh my God! I mean, with all the respect that I have for him, and right now I just lost some respect because you don't just throw a bunch of people on a tree and spy,
people on a tree.
and spying away. What are you trying to learn that you haven't seen? Go watch some of the games before.
He could have checked Gazzetta before
That's
and
right.
he
Or
didn't
just
have to
talk
worry
to us.
about it.
We'll
Right?
tell you what's going on.
Yeah, clearly. All right. So speaking of which, Milan's game against Atalanta. Let's discuss.
Oh,
Listen,
boy.
1-1. We'll get to the penalty. I could.
Oh, boy.
All right, go say what you want to say about the
For
penalty.
me, this Orsato is a total disgrace.
Oh, man.
He is a total
He's not wrong
disgrace.
right now, Mike.
Not only
it's
he
always the same
destroyed
thing
the
with
game, not
But I'm
only
saying right now he's
destroyed
not
it's not the
It's
first
always the
time,
same
Mike, that this
case.
is doing this to us, okay? Between him, Di Bello, and a couple others. I'm not here trying to complain. The guy ruined the game. I saw the replay 10 times and I couldn't find the reasons why this guy he had to go to the VAR and watch it. Even those idiots at the bar, what the hell are you calling him for?
They see the kick.
I am disgusted.
The kick is not enough, Pete.
I am disgusted, to be honest with you. This is one of the reasons why a lot of people are losing confidence on the referees that we have. Those are not referees. And this guy is an international referee. He should be quitting right now. If you look in a mirror, Orsato, it's not the first time that you're doing this to AC Milan. You are a disgrace. I cannot really say more because, we might have kids listening to this. But the least I can say, you are a total disgrace and you should not be reffing. Okay?
So I do, usually I take a harder stance against you, and I think sometimes you exaggerate with the calls on the referee. But this time I agree with you. When I saw the play in real time where Giroud hits, I believe it was Olm from Atalanta, who Olm also grabs his face in the play
face?
when it hits him in his rib. And the biggest problem I have is we've seen that kind of penalty be given in the Serie A before, if we're honest. A light penalty. We've seen it be given. I don't like that he goes to the VAR and he looks at one angle for like 3 seconds, and you can't really tell the impact of how hard the kick is from that quick. If we're gonna take time to use the VAR, why not at least for the show, for everyone to see? You look at it for a couple more seconds than that.
Well, the VAR, those are people in charge of the VAR room. They give the first angles and which angles to show
But
first.
at the end of the
too.
day, the referee on the field needs to make the decision.
I get
He
it, but
needs
if he
to
didn't
see
stay
it.
long enough there, he should have
But
given
they
a
did
better
the
angle.
same. They did the same mistake in the game with Summer and Fiorentina, where they're watching a different angle. Then the referee goes to the VAR and they're showing him the wrong angle.
Di Bello is
They're
another
showing him
one.
the wrong thing.
Listen, Marco, the guy should have been given a yellow card for simulating because the ball, the
No,
guy
there was
was not
contact.
even close. The guy was hitting the face, was showing himself.
I mean,
on the
that
floor.
happens a
There
million
was
times a game.
contact, Anto.
That's not right. That's not. You're ruining the game. You throw people off. Okay, you're turning me off. I cannot really be here. I'm not complaining about the final results. I just do not like to be jerked around by Orsato. So Orsato, you need to quit your goddamn job.
wait,
You're not,
what
you're
don't you
not
like
a
to be?
referee.
Who do you like
and
to
you're
be
not
jerked
even
around by?
an international referee.
do you
Not
like-
by him,
not
by
by-
somebody else.
He wants to be
Okay?
He wants him to be
Don't
sacked.
do that. You've been doing this not all the you do. He does that most of the
Okay.
time that he refs AC Milan. You are a total
a lot,
disgrace, Orsato. Quit your job.
All right, let's.
Get sacked.
Make
how-
sure you get the time note on this one.
I think it's all right.
It's okay?
I think we can leave that
Okay.
in.
He was just jerking me around.
Yeah.
That's a regular thing.
Can we
didn't say
can we talk?
anything,
You did it.
Can we talk about the game now? Let's talk about the rest of the match.
I watched the game. Listen, I watched the game because I was at the Inter party. I refused to watch the game in a tiny little phone. I went home and I watched the game from the beginning.
How'd you think Milan played?
They played very well. They actually kept Atalanta technically scoreless, and they didn't take a shot or goal.
Besides the penalty.
Besides the penalty, okay, which was not a penalty. All right. So aside from that, AC Milan is still lacking the finishing of the strikers that they have. And that includes Leao. Aside from the goal that he scored,
That was beautiful.
Leao.
World class.
That was a beautiful
No.
class.
Leao should stop telling people to be quiet. He didn't score that many goals so far. 5 goals, it's not a lot. Okay, he has to do a lot more before he can do that.
He's been involved in so many goals and
Doesn't
assists this year.
matter. Doesn't matter.
Without him, you're a
He's
completely
not
different
a
team.
deadly finisher. He has
Nah,
to. It's
come
not
on,
okay.
And
It's
it's-
not
and
okay.
it-
Anto,
You
without
wearing an
Leao,
AC
without Leao, you guys are bottom of the
You're
table.
wearing an AC.
Without Leao, you're not top.
You're not
four.
top 4.
There's
You're
no way.
wearing the AC
Okay,
Milan shirt. You are expected to do more. Okay, all of those things they don't belong on
So
AC
Leao
Milan.
has in his last 6 games, he's got 3 goals and 2 assists. He's been turning it on, and I have to tell you, he was an absolute
That
joy
goal was
to
crazy.
watch the game. I mean, I love players
Can
like
you
that.
do this every day
Anto,
in and day out?
enough. Stop. Let us say what we
All
want
right.
to say. You say your part about Leao.
All
There's
right.
people that agree with you, but you have to give credit where credit is due. For me, that was an unbelievable game of Leao. Every time he touches the ball, he's got a fantasy. He could dribble. He does it with a smile on his face. And for me, even if his numbers are not that great, he is still the most impactful player for Milan. Everything great ends up coming from Leao one way or another. If he doesn't put the ball into the back of the net, if it's not the assist, it's always the play or the space that he opens right before that. That's the way that I see it. Do I agree with you that if Leao played like this every game, we're talking about him in the same sentence as Mbappe, as the top 3 players in the world, top 5 players in the world?
Leao with Mbappe?
If he plays like this,
If
he plays like this.
So far, it says 1 game yes and 3 games no.
okay, that's the difference between a world-class player and a very good player. We understand that. And if he was a world-class player, I'm sorry, but I don't think he would still be staying at Milan. He'd be going to the best team in the world.
I want him to do well. Don't get me wrong. I want him to do well. But when you're wearing that AC Milan shirt, you have to do it day in and day out.
Okay, who else does on that
His
team?
attitude.
Who else does on that team?
His
No, no.
attitude.
Listen to what
I
he
don't
said.
like his attitude.
Name me someone else on the team that does it day in and day out. Does Pulisic do it? Does Giroud do it game in and game out every single game?
They played
Name me a
well. They played well.
Who does it every single game?
What do you mean who does it? Look at Lautaro.
For
He said on Milan.
Oh, for Milan.
Give me someone that does it every single game.
Well, listen.
No.
So you
This
compare
season, no.
it to.
This
Listen.
season, no.
What are you talking about? Is this an excuse?
It's not. I'm asking you. You saying to wear the jersey, they gotta do every. Who does it? Who does every single game?
Who does it?
Yes.
Theo Hernandez plays
Every
very
single
well all
game?
the time.
No, come
yes, he
on.
does.
Yeah, this
No, he
season?
doesn't.
Yeah,
This
he
season?
does. Theo
No,
Hernandez plays
fair.
very well
There was
all
a
the
lot of
time.
games that he didn't.
That's a
come
fair
up.
response.
Giroud plays very well most of the time.
Most of the time.
I like Reinders plays very well most of the time. Benacer plays very
Reinders
well most
also
of the
has a
time.
finishing problem.
You know, he's a striker. He's supposed to be striking. He's supposed to put numbers.
He's a winger.
Doesn't matter. You've been paid. You've been paid to
They're
put
all getting
numbers.
paid.
No, Mike.
But they're all getting paid, Anto.
Mike.
You can't be harsh on one player and
So
not the
I have
rest.
I have a stat that I
he's
saw. Anto,
supposed to
listen,
be-
listen to
okay,
me.
ahead.
Left wingers in the world for this season. Left wingers. Vinicius Jr. is at the top with 19 goals and assists. Leao is second with 17 goals and assists. Third is Diaz with 15 goals and assists. Then Kvara with 11. Martinelli with 11.
What do you
Doku
want?
with 11.
What do you
So
want?
he's up there
What do you
with the
want?
best. And he's still, and we're all agreeing that he didn't reach his full potential, because if he did that all the time, we'd be talking again about the best left winger in the
And
world.
now
Why
doesn't
don't
like
you
he's
make the
Orsolini
stats?
or
Why don't you make the
something.
stats of all the goals all the easy chances that he misses? That's what I wanted to see. It's a lot.
Anyway, about the game though, I agree with you that Milan played much better.
We dominated
It
them.
was,
We shut
it was
them
all
down.
Milan.
We shut them
You-
down.
You know, you guys rely a lot on individuals to create your opportunities. If it's not Leao, Theo Hernandez, Pulisic, you don't have that team type of play, but that's something that we've talked about many times. And Atalanta, they knew what they wanted. Atalanta wanted to go out there with a tie. You go to San Siro. They parked the bus as well as they could. And I appreciate that also from Atalanta, because they've shown both sides. They've shown games where they go out and they're flying high and they don't concede a lot at the back. This is part of getting Champions League football, is sometimes even when you don't play great, you have to be able to take a result when you're not playing away from home. And a lot of their top guys didn't play well. CDK got subbed off at halftime. Miranchuk wasn't really involved. Scamacca, I'm sorry, but Scamacca, I have never been more frustrated with a player. There was one moment where he got subbed into a game. He gets the ball. He kicks the ball out. And he stands like this, yelling at somebody else. When it's his fault, Zappacosta runs his ass back, runs to go get the ball, and Scamacca's still walking from the attack.
And
I mean, come
Zappacosta's
on.
twice his age, bro.
I think
he's,
it's
he's
been-
an old man compared to
I think
Scamacca.
Gasperini imaginated him because he sat him on the bench. When you've been tasked to come only the last 10 minutes, that means you're not as important as you think. Because Atalanta, I'm telling you, Mike, Gasperini doesn't fool around with big names and what you did 10 years ago, 5 years ago, or the last year, wherever you were playing. Gasperini, if you don't put you're not performing, you're sitting on the bench.
And he has been sitting on the bench
That's
for
how
good
he
reason.
deserves to
He's
be
not a
sitting on the
starter.
Good
bench.
reason.
He's not a starter.
I'm very disappointed in this guy, in the attitude. The fact that you have too many coaches talk about the way that he trains, the lack
He
of
talked
effort.
about it. He said it in the past. And that's the same reason. And we see it too. He sees it more than us. Obviously, we see it a little bit
I
later.
would not be
but
surprised
Very
if they ship him
very
out. If they sell
very
him.
disappointed in Scamacca. You have a golden opportunity.
How much they pay
To
him?
show
You have
yourself.
a golden opportunity,
Lower, but
and you're throwing it all away.
And I
Wait,
think
Marco, how much they paid for him?
I'll find out.
I lost my train of thought now. I was gonna say I'm surprised Atalanta really don't try to change up they usually play their kind of style. So I was whatever. Milan deserved it. They played much better. They were unlucky not to win. But I was surprised with Atalanta's approach overall. I thought they'd go out and show that they want to get the points. But Gasperini really changed up the approach and just didn't want to lose. Just wanted to get a point. And I was really shocked by that, to be honest. I don't know if you guys were. You didn't talk about it, but I was like, this is not the Atalanta that we're used to seeing, right?
And it's not no excuses that most of the stars were there. All the stars
exactly.
were there.
Most of them, I mean,
Nothing. It's just AC Milan is unlucky, and then we got Orsato, like the cherry on the cake. I mean,
I'm seeing around 25 million, and then there's
25.
a bonus of around 3-4 million.
it's not a lot, but it's not.
he started off well though, right? And then he dipped
Well,
off.
he does have 6 goals, which if you compare
That
it
was mostly in the
to some of
beginning.
the Atalanta players, I mean, Koop Miners, who's a midfielder, he's been amazing. He's got 8 goals. Then Lookman, who also missed time due to AFCON. CDK has 6 goals, but considering that he hasn't played that many minutes, he still does have 6 goals. But it's more than that. It's more than just the ball into the back of the net. Speaking
what he does
about
off the ball.
Speaking about that, Juventus had a disgusting game against Frosinone. 6:30 in the morning, you wake up to watch this on a Sunday.
This guy was
And
excited.
Dusan Vlahovic, oh my God, he puts the ball into the back of the net. Last 9 Serie A games, 10 goals, 2 assists. The man is a machine. He could have had a hat trick as well. He was super close to getting it. But I just don't understand this Juventus side. I thought they were going to drop points once again to
Yeah,
another
it looked like it.
another team
very
that
close.
you
Yeah,
were
that's right.
about to.
I was shocked by
They
that
were
win.
down. They were down 2-1 in this game. After being ahead 1-0, and they lose total control. All the good defensive things that we said about them in the past seem to have flown out the window. And they're saved by Daniele Rugani with 20 seconds to go. And very lucky. Very lucky. Not something to build on. What do we say?
I saw the disgust on the face of Allegri when, as soon as they scored, I said, "Oh my God!" He went and ran into the locker room very quickly. I mean, the guy he was spewing venoms from his mouth. I mean, from just the look, even though you're not saying anything.
You can tell from the
physically.
eyes, right?
Oh my God, the guy was. was totally disgusted with the game. I guess he was disgusted with himself because he's the coach, and I guess
He's the coach also.
Well, the team is not really running. I feel bad for Chiesa, to be honest with you. He's the only guy that I feel bad.
And Vlahovic.
Because he's been ruining into this kind of a situation. Vlahovic, for some reasons, is finding the way to put numbers and to score. Even, Juventus playing like this lousy soccer.
Let's go deeper on Chiesa.
Chiesa, I feel bad for
Did
the
you
kid.
see his face when he got subbed out?
Yeah.
I mean, how in the world are you playing at home against Frosinone, and a Frosinone side who, in their previous 4 games, by the way, conceded 12 goals, scored only 4, lost 3, and tied 1. And you have Chiesa on the pitch with Vlahovic, and you want to sub in Yildiz, and you're too scared to put the 3 of them together. Chiesa looks so frustrated. And then after the match, Allegri says that, he wants to play on the wing, but on the wing, he's too stagnant. He's not involved, all this stuff. I really think that there's a problem in the locker room with Chiesa and Allegri. And come this summer, one of them is going to budge. I don't see both of them remaining at Juventus this summer. And I don't blame Chiesa for wanting to play in his 4-3-3 and wanting to play in a better style.
I think Allegri is a big problem.
The way Allegri plays it as an attacker, you're just not gonna like the style that they play. Both of them coming from Fiorentina, right? They always play Fiorentina for the most part. The past years they play that attacking kind of football. And then you come to Juventus where a lot of the attacking isn't the first thing. It's defending first, playing that gritty kind of football. And for a player like Chiesa who loves dancing with the ball, moving around, where he doesn't feel the freedom that he could do that, obviously you're gonna be mad.
Which you know what the thing is, I'm not a big just personally, right? This is just preference. Personally, I never love the guys that go out and attack like crazy, like Zeman style, or even De Zerbi is too much for me. When I watch his teams, I say they can see too much in the back, and so I understand I like teams that can play defensive. My point is, there's moments to do that, right? You're playing against Frosinone at home. I mean, if you're scared to release the handbrake even against Frosinone at home, and you're watching these Juventus players do stuff that they should never do, it really doesn't make sense. It doesn't click in my head.
Yeah, but it just stems from this team, the way that it's coached, the way that it's, out on the field, where there is no sense of direction really from Allegri to say, hey, we want to be able to have possession, we want to have the ball and be able to show our ability with the players that we have on the field, and it's just what it is. Allegri is this old school style of coach where he's a great, I think, man manager, but on the field his tactics are outdated. Same thing with Mourinho to a certain extent. Certain teams you might be able to work with, but then afterwards you're not going to get the full experience with these teams, because look at what the other teams are doing, like the top teams, but even the smaller teams. Frosinone of the past would have sat back and waited to counter. These smaller teams are not doing that anymore. So then at that point, you need to be able to combat that. And even when it's a question of balance, right? Again, going to Inzaghi's, style of play. I mean, he has his 2 center backs playing up, but he always managed to have the coverage of 3 players. So there's a way to be able to move, because the game now, and it's great to watch, like even if you see any YouTube videos and stuff, how the tactics now is all about the space. Okay, and we see it with Thiago Motta, we see it even with the Zerbi, where it's not so much that you have to have the numbers to play back, but do you have the correct spacing to be able to cover the board, and be able to make sure that if you're going to get countered on, do we have what we need to do to be able to defend? And unfortunately with Allegri, you're not going to get that. This was anno zero, as they say in Italian, which is,
For who? For Allegri?
Yes, it was because of the new sporting director. But when he came in, he's not going to change everything 1, 2, 3. He needs the time to settle, evaluate the squad, and then we'll see what happens next year.
Peter,
if I was a Juventus fan, or even Juventus, Allegri should not be the coach next year. The only reason why you keep Allegri is because you're scared to lose the money that's already on.
Let me say something, Pete. I watched the game. I made it a point. I said at 6:30. Okay, I was awake. I said, let me watch the game. So I put the game on. The Juventus is so lethargic coming back. Even the build up from the backside. side by side, and again, and back and forth, and back and forth. Nothing happened.
No
Nothing. Possession sterile, una possessione sterile. We say in Italian, a sterile, right, Mike? Sterile possession. It's not a possession for me. Okay. So nothing is happening. It's just boring watching them. But you're looking at the names. I said, how can that be? Those are very good players. Rabiot, Chiesa, Vlahovic, McKennie.
Bremer has been one of the best defenders.
I can't believe that they play this kind of style.
Locatelli's completely ruined.
No.
Locatelli playing as a regista. I mean, Antonio, you could have said it's impossible for Locatelli to become a regista. He's ruined all his offensive abilities.
He doesn't have it.
He's not a good regista.
It's like he's been clipped.
They got him and they put him in the wrong position where he excelled at Sassuolo.
And they spent 40 million on him.
And you know what the crazy thing is, too? Remember,
to play a guy out of position.
Remember Bremer was at Torino and he could have said yes to Inter and he was holding off to go to Juventus the whole time, and he wanted Juventus the whole time. I wonder what that was about, and I feel like if he look back at that, I was like, Jesus, I kind of screwed up with this move.
It was also Inter. Inter didn't have the funds to be able to.
But if he really wanted to, he could have completed that.
No,
I think he was.
But ultimately, it was Torino that had the
AC Milan was on Bremer too.
But it was mostly between Inter and Juve.
Yeah, but Inter, what happened was they weren't able to figure out what was going on with Skriniar that summer. And they were waiting. They didn't get the offer that they wanted.
And Juve completed it quicker.
But let me just say one more thing, because I want to pick up a point that Marco put it before on the table. He says, you guys have to make up your mind about Allegri, because 3 weeks ago when Juventus was 2 points from Inter, or 4 weeks ago, everybody, Allegri's this, Allegri that. No, all of a sudden Allegri's not good anymore. It's like this back and forth, back and forth.
Nobody here.
So, you guys have to stick with your gun. You have to stick. You
no
personally.
No one said that here.
But you know why? Because we said this. We said it here. I said no matter what happens, even if Juventus win the Scudetto, you have to move on from Allegri. And Juventus fans at the time wanted to kill me, saying, "Oh, you shouldn't be talking about that. We're winning games." But when you win games in the way that they were winning games. It's gonna run out.
You gotta look through
There's no
this.
foundation.
You gotta
there's
look
no
through how
real
they play.
substance.
Yeah.
And basically, the rest of the season, there's not much to play for. I mean, Juventus is out of the Scudetto race. You pretty much know that. They're not going to get out of top 4. They're going to be there. They'll be fine. I mean, they still have the Coppa Italia, but I mean, this is a point where Giuntoli and co need to get to work and figure out. We know what's going to happen. Who's the coach? What's the plan? How do we go forward from this moment? Because it's not anything sustainable to build upon. You mentioned coaches that see space, and for some reason, something's been calling me to this name, and I think he should join Napoli, this coach.
Who?
I want to see if you guys can guess
Serie A?
who I'm thinking of. He
Italiano?
is Serie A. One guy that I'm seeing that I feel like he really could fit.
Gilardino?
Napoli.
I don't know.
What do you think?
Not Thiago Motta. Thiago Motta
No, Thiago Motta is not going to go to Napoli. His agent, did you hear what his agent said? His agent said that no one wants to work with De Laurentiis. He said Conte is not going to go there. De Laurentiis is too overbearing. We will not go to Napoli. Thiago Motta's agent said that.
Let's see.
The coaches in Serie A?
Mm-hmm. I think he could be a good fit.
Italiano? No.
Italiano, I feel like he might make a
bigger move.
Italiano's a good one.
I
was thinking Palladino from Monza. I feel like I like his pragmatic ways where he does give his team a lot of freedom. I mean, they struggle to score goals, but it's really not his fault that he doesn't have amazing players. I really think, I know he's a risky one.
Smart. No,
but
it's not risky.
He's 39 years old, the youngest coach in the league. For some reason, there's something about him. Yeah, from Napoli. I feel like he could fit this team.
But do you think he's going to be able to withstand all of the pressure from ADL, telling him
he kind of has
micromanage from the top over there, from the stand?
He's not a big name, so he has to.
What do you mean he has to? No, Palladino can say, hey, listen, if I'm coming over here,
well...
Listen, so far, 2 years in Serie A, and you took over a failing job from another coach. Palladino's shown that Monza is playing soccer. He's playing soccer with no names,
they play
no big names. They're playing a spectacular soccer.
But it's also a big jump, and if you have to go to that, and
but Anto's saying he could wait, though, is what Anto's saying. Like he could wait for something else besides Napoli. Is what he means. Like a Lazio or. I don't know, whoever else is going to move on. There's going to be a huge rotation of coaches this summer.
I think it's a huge rotation, but then also Napoli, for example, I don't even know what team is going to be there next year. Because I think, even though they're healthy with the books, I think it's just players that want to leave. We know
There's
about
gonna be
Osimhen's
Osimhen's out for
Jennings
sure.
is gone. Osimhen is
Jennings is
gone.
gone.
Kvara,
So-
I think, is going to be. There's
He might
already
be.
some talk behind the scenes that
It
he
could
might.
be,
He might
yeah,
be.
it could be. But
Yeah.
I think if you lose Osimhen, you lose Zielinski, you can't afford to lose Kvaratskhelia. And
I agree
then
with that.
you have to also see with the remaining squad, there's a problem defensively. You know, we saw
Center
again
backs.
this weekend what happened.
Juan Jesus.
So,
Oh my
Juan
God.
Jesus and Rahmani.
Yo, Juan Jesus on that
Dear
goal.
God.
That,
Rahmani is
yo,
recognizable
he was
for me
ball
from last year.
watching.
Rahmani put the ball into the back of his own net like a striker. I think he got confused on where he was defending. If he was defending or if he was attacking.
But isn't it crazy how it's all about confidence? And at the time, that Scudetto run, everything just fits perfectly. Other when you take that break, everything gets cold and everything just resets.
And I feel
you
bad.
forget how to play.
I kind of like Calzona since he's come in. I didn't know a lot about him, but I did a lot of research. He was for years, I think it's like 15 years, 20 years. He worked with Sarri as his number 2. He worked all through.
Spalletti
He
too.
understood that, right? Then he was at Napoli. Ancelotti came in. Ancelotti brings his son everywhere he goes as the vice. And then Spalletti wanted him back, Calzona. So he knew that he was always a number 2. And then even when he took over for Slovakia. He's done really well. He qualified them for the Euros. They've played really good football. He tries to focus on defense and shoring that up. He's brought into a situation where, I mean, we've been through 3 coaches, so I
Becomes
think
a-
we know
yeah.
it's not the coach.
Yeah,
but he
yeah.
at least understands Naples and understands tactically he's worked with great coaches.
Yeah. At this point, if you're this coach, you know you're in a bigger hole. Your job is just to make sure it doesn't go even more south. So yeah, you can. For the most part, his ideas are there. You could see it, but I just feel like all the players just lost it, and they just want the season to go as quickly as possible. That's what I see from this.
What does Napoli need to do to quote unquote salvage the season? Because the season seems to me is slipping
to
away.
They're in 9th place right now.
how
my
far are they from
God.
5th?
They are
8 or 9 points.
nine.
Probably. 8 points?
9 points.
Oh, that's
9
a
points
lot.
away from 5th place, and also then you have Lazio, Fiorentina, Roma,
Yeah,
and then
that's
Atalanta
very-
in that 5th
that's very
spot.
difficult.
Because it's not just the points; it's also
Bologna
the
too,
teams,
Bologna.
Exactly.
and also we're talking about a Napoli who 1-0 are up against Cagliari.
Yeah.
And when Politano misses the goal right in front of the net, I would have bet anything that they were gonna concede. It's like there's like a negativity amongst them that they know it's gonna happen. And Cagliari score in the 90th minute again.
crazy.
They've earned 7 points in the 90th minute. They always seem to do it, but it's just so disheartening and so disappointing because I really thought they would come back.
And Politano, literally, he had the pass on for Simeone to score the
totally
second
opened
goal.
up,
And
open.
you hear him screaming on the
and that
mic.
offside play, even though
And
it
it's like-
didn't count if it went in, Osimhen, you saw that miss. He hit
Okay,
the
but
post
it
in
was
front of.
offside,
I
so
know
you can't
that.
do
that
anything.
said
Osimhen
it.
also saved them against Barcelona and then saved them in this game against Cagliari. He did those 2 goals.
He scored
were
them, yeah.
Osimhen goals
Yeah.
by himself.
No,
There's no assist.
I
There's
get
no
it. I'm
anything.
not blaming just on him, but I just feel like there's an aura and there's the mentality. It just feels like everything's going against them.
To salvage the season, like you said, the return leg against Barcelona, they need a miracle.
That's gonna be
it's
that's gonna
1-1,
be
but you're
tough.
going to the Camp Nou in a game where Barcelona didn't scare me as much as I expected in the match. They played better. They played better than Napoli.
The first 15 minutes,
then
it
in
looked
the-
like it was gonna be a bloodbath.
But then in the end, I thought Napoli were actually
Yeah.
closer to
Yeah.
getting the
They-
second goal
they
than
weathered out the
Barcelona
attacks.
were.
Well, they were playing 11 on 10. So didn't Barcelona get a red card? I believe. Am I
was
confused?
Bayern,
Was it-
no?
Oh yes. I'm sorry.
yeah, but it says like, wait, what
Yeah, I
is
don't
that?
remember.
That was Lazio. I'm sorry. That was
Yeah.
Lazio.
Yeah.
So,
But either way, they were.
Yeah, but Napoli was at home, so
Listen,
you
I
score
have
that
a-
goal, you get a little momentum,
That's
and
true,
Barcelona
that's
also says, "Hey, we'd rather just
Reserve
weather the
the-
storm, go 1-1,
And
than,
wait for it in
than
Spain,
being,
right?
being down 2-1."
Calzona
So-
also came in 48 hours before. He had like
No,
a training
yeah.
and a half, so
No,
he
listen.
couldn't really do too much.
He's not, but even now, like
Just stabilizer.
his his ideas of the
That's what
game,
it is.
he's
What's
not
he
going to be
gonna
able
do?
to do anything
Yeah.
because you don't have the training sessions. You're playing every 3 days. There's no way for you to say, "I'm coming here and you got to do as I say." It's gonna be okay.
You gotta be a psychiatrist at that point and just keep.
You remember
the,
what we
keep
did
the
with
positive
Spalletti?
energy.
That's what we need to do, and that's what he's gonna.
hard.
It's what he has to say. So
See ya.
Yeah.
you know,
Disappointing. Fiorentina though.
See ya. That's why ADL
big,
sent to 3 coaches
big,
this
big
season.
game that we just watched. Fiorentina beat Lazio.
No.
Came from behind.
Way. I was playing tennis, so that was about to
We,
ask
we,
you,
wa- we
Mike.
watched the game
But
over here.
Lazio was winning when I left.
1-0. Lazio were winning. They didn't really do much though. They didn't
No,
create a
they
lot of
caught on.
opportunities. Italiano's
hit 3
team
posts.
was.
Fiorentina
I think he
was
put out a
playing
really
well,
great
but then I
side.
see Lazio scoring.
And they missed a penalty.
Fiorentina.
Nico Gonzalez
Oh
missed
my
another penalty. They
God.
missed 4 penalties this season. They went from, in 2023, they went 7 for 7 from the spot. And now they even won the Coppa Italia game.
Right.
I think they scored all their penalties in the Coppa Italia game, if I'm not mistaken. It's something in their head.
So what's the final score?
Psychologically.
Against Bologna,
2-1.
right?
2-1. Okay.
Yeah.
And now they hopped Lazio in the table. Now they're over them. So that's a big.
1 point.
That's a dog fight.
1 point.
I think it's 1 point. Mark, we want to double check on that.
Wow.
But,
What a big fight.
That was
That's a
was
big
really
competition.
important.
Oh,
But they
yeah.
also showed a good spirit. You watched the game.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
No, I think Fiorentina, especially in the first half, they dominated
I
play.
saw that.
And
You didn't-
they hit
you just
three
said you were-
posts.
No, I saw
in
the first 20 minutes.
Ah,
Before was watching with Enrico, and then
Yeah, he's making sure you don't say anything
you
bad.
see-
Huh?
you
They're
see-
1 point above Lazio.
oh my god.
Yeah, and
See, Mike,
yeah,
thank you
you
for,
see that
for
the
taking
team
my
they were
side.
playing, Lazio again have these up and down games, whatever. But Fiorentina needed the points, and you saw that on the field. Just freaking, they gotta be able to take 20 shots before
I
they
know.
can get 2 goals. It's insane. They just have no luck sometimes, because that's the reality of it.
Beltran played well. I feel like Beltran's had a better season than people have given him credit for. It's his first year in Serie A. He's a fighter. He's not the proper number 9 like you would love him to be, but I like Beltran a lot. I think he adds a lot to the teams when
I
he's
think
on.
Fiorentina, since Vlahovic left, it's hard for them to find
yeah.
a striker.
Would you
Yeah, we
swap?
know that.
Would you
Yeah.
swap? Would you make a swap? Allegri for Italiano. Allegri goes to coach Fiorentina, and Italiano comes to
Who wouldn't
Juventus.
say yes to that?
Would you trade me $10 for $1?
It all depends.
Is it singles or straight
wrong
up
with
bills?
this guy?
US dollar or
US dollar.
right.
That's a good one, Pete. I'll give it to you.
Shaking your cousin's hand. What else we got? Anything else we missed?
The Bologna. Bologna is amazing. They week in and week out. I mean, it's like a
They're holding up.
machine.
They're
It's
holding
like
up
a
there. You think every
machine.
weekend, okay, now they're gonna start dropping. Now they're
No,
they're
no,
keeping it up.
no.
Mota knows what to do. He's got his
This
players.
Zirkzee, man, he comes from behind. I mean, I'm not sure if it's that there is a little luck into the goal that he scored, but the guy comes from behind 4 or 5 defender, and this guy here comes, boom,
Yeah.
beautiful,
That was nice. That was so nice.
piatto destro, and the ball is on the opposite corner. I
Very
mean,
nice.
what do you do?
He started that play and he finished it, right?
Right. So
He said after the match too that when he had a conversation with Thiago Motta, because he's not a 9, he's not a striker, he's not an out-and-out striker. He always wanted to play with a number 9. He wanted to play in a 2-man striker
Closer
system,
to goal.
and he told Thiago Motta that. And Thiago Motta said, "No. He's like, listen to me, trust me. Let's try this out. Let's see how it goes." And he's like, listen, he was right. He saw it in me, and he says he's like a 9.5. He also talked about like his playing style. They refer to him as like a Zlatan-esque for how he is, how he moves,
he's built,
the technique that he has, the fact that he's not that proper striker. He could do a little bit of all, and it's part of the reasons why Bologna are 5 wins in a row right now. And for me, it feels very sure that they're going to be playing in the top European competition. I mean, with on the track that they're on, Champions League football is right there, especially if you get 5 teams.
I just hope they don't get ripped apart in the summer, and then they're just gonna look like a shell of themselves next
what do you
year
mean,
when they're
Mike,
playing.
ripped apart?
No, in the
All the teams.
Mercato.
Oh,
Like
so-
Mota leaves, all these players leave.
I
and
just
then-
wanted to take Zirkzee away from them and Motta.
But-
yeah,
and then
you
you-
mean the most important pieces?
No, we'll give them a couple pieces. We'll give them.
but listen, we saw it again. I keep on saying, but Sartori, mastermind behind
He
this
knows his
all, and I
stuff.
think you get into Champions League, you're able to keep players because of the money,
40
the
million,
revenue
baby.
that comes in. Xerxes might be a hot commodity, so that's gonna be an interesting thing to see. But Bologna, I think Thiago Motta. I was watching something where he followed. He had both Gasperini and Mourinho as coaches in his time in Italy, and very different approaches to the game. But you can see he has this difference or different ways to attack. With Mourinho, it was always about breaking the lines and how can you get the right pass, the quickest way to get on goal. So if you can get 1 pass, 2 pass, 3 passes, that's the objective. Break the line, and score. Whereas Gasperini wanted a slower build-up in the sense that you have more of a horizontal play in order to be able to get more numbers in the box, more numbers in attacking positions. So we see that at times with Bologna where their build-up from the back, arguably is close to like an Inter, the style where they're able to play the ball and be able to move the ball up, and then you see the players get in attacking positions, or the ball over the top, to Orsolini or to Xerxes that can create something. So it's great to see that he has this freedom and adaptability in his game. And I think that's more of a modern approach and why, he's successful right now.
That's why I like him better than not to pick on De Zerbi. I like De Zerbi a lot, but I'm just saying I prefer the style because Bologna, we talk about their attack a lot, but it's actually the defensive numbers that's really impressive. And I still lend myself towards I like a team that's just solid in the back and doesn't give up goals and is pragmatic and is smart, but that's not scared to go for it when the time comes. And he doesn't have that fear gene in his teams. It just doesn't exist. One last thing, maybe before we go, the draws, the Europa League draw was announced. Atalanta playing Sporting, which they already played, by the way, and they did very well. So hopefully they could continue. I'll get you guys' thoughts. AC Milan against Slavia Praha, and then Roma against Brighton. How do we feel?
Brighton.
And Fiorentina Maccabi.
Yeah, Maccabi is not even a game. So
They not Juventus. They beat
Yeah,
Juventus and
Maccabi.
tied Juventus?
Yeah, but how many years ago?
What is
But
it,
it's-
Haifa?
Yeah, last year.
Is it Haifa
Not this
or
Fiorentina.
Is it
Fiorentina.
different?
Maccabi Tel Aviv? There's
Oh,
two.
okay.
Yeah, we gotta be.
Could be
No,
Maccabi.
this is
There's
Haifa.
two.
Right, Maccabi.
We're gonna make sure.
Yeah, this is not the same
Continue
thing.
with
Well,
the
listen,
Europa League
listen.
draws. How do you feel?
We are pretty lucky to have to be not to get Liverpool or who else is a hot team. I think Roma's got a tough.
Leverkusen.
But Roma's got a tough task.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, it was the same
De
team.
Zerbi, it's
It was
not
the same
a-
team. Maccabi
Maccabi
Haifa,
Haifa.
yeah.
Yeah, De Zerbi is not going to lay down the red carpet for De Rossi, even though we're Italian, but it's going to be a tough fight.
Yeah, obviously, he's
Let me
got to
tell
do
you
his
something.
job, man.
Brighton is one of the
De Rossi
favorites.
can still take it. I mean, the way if they're playing the way this style, I think De Rossi can still take it. De Rossi is a student of the game. I think he's going to just find a way.
They both are. They
Yeah.
come from the same kind of philosophies. They had dinner with the Guardiola. They see him as like his reference. He even says their daughters are friends. Like they're very close friends with each
Roma
other.
is playing a beautiful style. It's beautiful to watch lately. Not because they've been winning the 500 round. Even when they played with Inter, at some point they were up to one. I mean, it's a team that is not scared.
Yes.
Okay. It's the build up. It's nice and fluid. And then the people, they know what they're supposed to be. And there is a lot of they're not stiff. I don't see the stiffness that those players they had when they were under Mourinho direction. The way they've been playing right now, they're filling up all the spaces. They just, they're moving a lot more freely on the field, and they're making things happen for themselves and for the Roma.
The hope that I have, just to throw it out there, is that Brighton plays very open. As I continue to keep mentioning on this podcast, they conceded 40 goals in 25 games.
It's a
and
lot.
scored
It's
48.
defensively, they can get hurt.
I think that's the biggest thing with that. Yes, they can score goals, but if De Rossi can really solidify that defense, we know Roma's been scoring freely so far under De Rossi. So I'm not scared that Roma's not going to score. I think Roma's going to score, especially the way Brighton play. They can definitely get them on the counter. But if they can be defensively sound, I think Roma have a really good shot of progressing through this. I think that's
50-50?
Yeah, no,
I think it's very fair.
I would say even Roma 60-40. I'll tell you why.
No.
The key, let me
I
tell
would
you
go the
something.
opposite
I
way
think
more.
Brighton a little
Let
bit
me tell
more.
you something.
55-45.
Yeah,
The
maybe 55.
midfield is the key for this. Forget about the defense. The midfield is the key for the winner of this thing here. I think Roma midfield is not in best shape.
I'd be interested in
what they
seeing
have.
De Rossi's approach to the game.
If he parks a bus or something?
Yeah, does he match Brighton and try to keep them and force them to make mistakes? Or does he try to sit back a little bit and counter? Because, Roma have the players to kind of do both. And I think that's something that we haven't seen yet with this Roma team. But
I think you got to be pragmatic.
It could be a mix, a combination
course,
of the
you're gonna
two
have
things.
You're going to have a combination of the two
Right.
things. Because ultimately, you're going to have to... With Brighton, too, they keep possession high up. So you want to have the chances to win the ball there. But you can't do it constantly.
Yeah.
How about Milan, Slavia Praha?
Yeah, we
Roma played them 2 times. It was 1 win and 1 loss.
They're pretty solid. I think they're a sleeper.
I think if
in
Roma
this
could
competition.
beat them then Milan, if Milan play, because
Yeah, the way
if it's
Milan-
the Milan that defends the way that you did against Rennes and against Monza, that was unwatchable the 2 games before that. You guys are going to score goals. You could go forward, but if you're not tidy in the back, I still see Milan as one of the favorites to win the entire Europa League.
Well,
though,
hopefully we're going to
regardless.
get our defenders back. I mean, Tomori's coming back. Kalulu, I think, is on his way. He's already training with the full squad. So
Who's
this
your right
is-
back?
Well, we got Calabria. Hello. Calabria is not a bad. Calabria almost scored against Atalanta. Listen, Calabria is not a defender. Don't put Calabria against, I don't know, Osimhen or Kvara or.
Where should they play?
Don't worry, you have Florenzi as the
But
backup.
Calabria never plays as a defender. If you look at it, very
Never
rarely.
plays as a defender.
Calabria.
He just comes
plays as a
up a
center
lot.
forward.
He just comes up a lot.
No.
Goalkeeper.
Hello, English. Calabria plays almost right in front of the defense. It's like it's a mix and match. Sometimes it's a defender, sometimes it's not.
Yo, Peter's
But-
face right now. He's like, what's this guy saying?
Calabria, it's not a 1 of the 4. It could be a 3.5.
Did you get hit with the tennis
A
ball in your head
3.5.
today?
Yeah.
It's a
3.5. What the hell is that?
It's not. AC Milan that never plays with 4 defender.
And that's why they let all these
Calabria
goals.
is like, Calabria is like Mike.
They
It's
gotta change the
it's
take,
a defender. You know.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon.
Like
Ciao,
and
ragazzi.
subscribe, okay?
And Forza
Milan
and
and Bari.
and Body.